An engagement party went viral on TikTok. A picture-perfect couple, a fiancé who promised the world. And just 3 days later, the bride-to-be vanished. What followed was a stunning revelation about the truth behind their dream relationship, a truth that no one saw coming. This is the case of Alyssa Carter, a vibrant 22-year-old nursing student from Atlanta, and her charismatic fiancé, Evan Blake. Evan was a tech entrepreneur, a man whose online image was absolutely flawless. Their engagement party was a lavish affair, a modern take on a dowry ceremony that beautifully blended tradition with luxury. It was the kind of event that filled social media feeds, earning them admiration and envy. But this fairy tale celebration also marked the beginning of an unimaginable nightmare. Immediately after the party, Alyssa moved into Evan's state-of-the-art smart home. This wasn't just any house. It was a fortress of technology. It was filled with cameras, electronic locks, and AI-controlled lighting. It was a house that only Evan truly controlled. The day after she moved in, her friends noticed something strange. Alyssa, who was constantly active online, suddenly went silent. She stopped posting. Her best friend recalled a final, unsettling text message. It said the house felt too quiet. The next day, there was nothing. No replies, no calls, no posts. Just radio silence. Concern began to grow among those who knew her. Neighbors later came forward, reporting that they had heard arguments coming from the house. When people asked Evan about it, he was smooth, brushing off their concerns. He'd say that Alyssa was just adjusting to her new life, that moving in was a big change. He made it all sound perfectly normal. But for Alyssa's parents, normal was the last thing they were feeling. They tried calling her, desperate to hear her voice. But every time, Evan answered, and he always had a different excuse. First, he said her phone was broken. Then, a few hours later, he claimed she was sleeping. Later that same day, he told them she had gone out. 3 completely different explanations in less than 24 hours. Her parents knew something was deeply wrong. Alyssa was the kind of daughter who always checked in. She would never just disappear without a word. Trusting their instincts, the Carters drove straight to Evan's high-tech home. When they arrived, Evan came to the door, but he only cracked it open. He refused to let them inside, blaming a supposed security system update that had locked everything down. His behavior was suspicious, but they had no choice but to leave. As they walked away from the house, they heard something strange, a low, humming sound coming from the basement. It was a sound they'd never heard before, and it didn't seem to fit with the normal sounds of a house. That was the final straw. They called the police. When officers arrived, Evan put on his best performance. He was the polite, concerned, and completely calm fiancé. He was cooperative, telling the officers that Alyssa had simply gone to visit a friend and needed some space. He made it seem like her parents were overreacting, just worried for no reason. He had an answer for everything, and on the surface, he seemed entirely credible. But technology, the very thing Evan used to build his perfect world, would also be his undoing. Investigators got to work. They checked flight logs, travel apps, and her phone's location data. The digital trail was clear. There was absolutely no sign that Alyssa had ever left the house. She hadn't boarded a plane, taken a rideshare, or used her phone anywhere else. All data pointed to her last known location being right inside Evan Blake's smart home. Police returned for a second, more thorough walkthrough. This time, they noticed something that hadn't been there before. In the basement, the source of that strange humming sound, they found freshly installed laminate flooring. It was brand new, so new that parts of it were still drying. An investigator later said that in a brand new home, suddenly replacing the flooring is a massive red flag. Something was not adding up. Evan's story was starting to fall apart. With enough probable cause, a warrant was issued. This gave investigators the power to dig deeper, especially into the digital records of the house. Digital forensics experts were brought in to recover deleted logs from the smart home system. And what they found was chilling. The logs showed evidence of a violent struggle on the very night Alyssa disappeared. The AI that ran the house had recorded a story of terror that Evan had tried to erase. The truth, when it finally came out, was shocking. Evan Blake, the successful tech entrepreneur, was a fraud. He was drowning in debt from a failed cryptocurrency venture. Nearly every aspect of his glamorous online life was a lie, carefully staged to attract investors and maintain his image. That lavish engagement party, it was paid for with borrowed funds he couldn't repay. The modern dowry ceremony, It was nothing more than a shield, a performance designed to convince everyone that he was a man of wealth and status. When Alyssa, his smart and perceptive fiancée, discovered the lies, she confronted him. She had uncovered the web of deceit, and Evan panicked. He was terrified that his carefully crafted public image, the foundation of his entire identity, would crumble to dust. His fear of being exposed drove him to an unthinkable act. In court, the confident, charming persona that Evan had perfected completely collapsed. The evidence was overwhelming. Data from the smart home system, his damning financial records, and his constantly shifting timeline painted a clear picture of his guilt. Faced with the irrefutable proof, Evan confessed. The community was heartbroken and rallied around Alyssa's family, offering support in the wake of the tragedy. Her case became a national conversation, and the hidden dangers that can lurk behind perfectly curated social media profiles. It was a stark reminder that what we see online is often just a performance. Alyssa's story teaches us that warning signs like isolation, secrecy, and sudden changes in communication should never be ignored. Even relationships that look perfect on the surface can hide dangerous and terrifying truths. We must remember to look beyond the filters and the staged photos, and always trust our instincts when something feels wrong. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more stories.